The Food Based Dietary Guidelines (FBDG) were developed in a process led by the Grenada Food and Nutrition Council in collaboration with the Food and Agricultural Organization (FAO), the Institute of Nutrition of Central America and Panama, and the Caribbean Food and Nutrition Institute, and is an initiative that the Ministry of Agriculture and Lands supports. Grenada began the process back in 2006 when it first published its food-based dietary guidelines, taking into consideration data relating to mortality, food production, food consumption, and nutrition status. In an effort to further develop the guidelines, the Food and Nutrition Council opened a workshop at the Public Workers Union on Tuesday 30th, facilitating healthcare professionals, policymakers, nutritionists, community leaders, media, educators, and other members of the public. The sessions are aimed at reviewing the results of the field tests of messages and graphics, selecting feasible recommendations to be implemented by the population, and to prepare the first set of messages and define contents of the basic educational materials for the FBDGs. Ms. Veronica Molina, Food and Agriculture Organization consultant who is assisting the national team with developing the methodology, says one of the overarching goals is to encourage better eating patterns.
What we are trying to do is to help people to do better choices regarding food. As you know, there is a real health problem among the population, not just undernutrition, but our main problem is obesity and chronic diseases. And all these problems become from bad food choices and also lack of physical activity. What we are trying to do is to give the population practical messages to help them to do better choices with the food available in their own local context. That's why we are using a lot of ethnographic studies to understand what people believe, think, and what people can do and what people cannot do. Because as technicians, we know what is better for the population, but we also want to know if they are willing to follow these recommendations.
Stephanie Lewis, consultant for the Food-Based Dietary Guidelines, said one of the accomplishments would be the development of different material for the population on dietary guidelines.
And that workshop is for us to put together some results from a focus group to finally come up with some messages for the food-based dietary guidelines. So what we would do is to break off into groups that will take the first 4 messages and the second 4 messages and work on that and try to look at the results from the focus group and take that results and put it into the messages. So whatever suggestions that were made, whatever barriers or whatever benefits, we'll take that and use that in terms of for the graphic and for the messages, but also to prepare educational materials for the country. And that would be educational materials for the different populations.
While similar updates are being carried out by the Food and Agriculture Organization in territories such as St. Vincent, Ms. Lydia Brown, Executive Director for the Food and Nutrition Council, outlined the significance of having such a workshop here.
This workshop is very important for Grenada. We have dietary guidelines that were set up and launched in 2006, and so it's long overdue for a revision, and the revision process really started a long time ago. But these guidelines are actually, we look at the health situation in Grenada and to see the amount of chronic diseases that we're having, a large amount of it stemming from our the body weights of people being higher and higher as they age. And so the guidelines are actually going to give people an idea, not what to eat, but the proportion of foods, how they need to gauge the different groups of foods and how much of it they need to lessen and how much of it they should eat more of.
During the first day of the workshop, the participants were given an opportunity to review and make recommendations on the results of field tests that were conducted by the Balls Research Group headed by Dr. Wendy Crawford, Assistant Agricultural Officer within the Ministry of Agriculture who represented the 4-H unit. Ms. Anna Abraham is hopeful that the two-day session will contribute to the development of healthy eating habits.
I'm hoping that I will be able to get some more information as to ways to eat healthy, things to do to live a healthier life, and that we can pass that information on to the children in the schools, in the 4-H clubs.
The review of the existing national food-based dietary guidelines is reflective of the nutrition situation in the country. It would aim to use ordinary language that the general public understands while providing practical advice that is appropriate for local customs, dietary patterns, economic conditions, and lifestyles. The workshop wraps up on Wednesday, 31st July 2019. For the Ministry of Agriculture's Public Relations Unit, I am Mina Booker.